Hello and welcome to, what did we call this series?
Lucca Trigger.
Lucca Trigger!
Part 4!
Part 4, finally, the fans have been demanding it.
Like 18 months later.
Cool. So you are now the person who remembers it best because you've watched the videos recently.
Yes, and I mean, I feel like I already always remembered the plot a little better because it generally followed the video game pretty well, something I have played dozens of times.
Yeah.
Okay, so to recap for you partially, which I already mentioned this off camera, but so we had left off, you, Frog, and Ayla had defeated the Black Tyranno and Azala at the Tyranno lair, ascending to level 9, as Lavos fell, and we discovered that he is in fact an extraterrestrial, and that Lavos itself is an Iokan word that managed to last somewhere between 65 million and 40,000 years.
Aliens.
Too bad that guy's a white supremacist.
Okay, I didn't. Now I know. Okay, thanks for letting me know not to do that impression.
Yeah. Okay, alright, our star is here.
Yes. Well, this is Chrono after all.
Yes, as established. He's the star of the show.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I remember after that is we went to Antiquity, but you reminded me that first I reassembled the whole team.
Gotta get the gang back together. And also, I think at this point you were like, okay, I do finally want to get Frog those spell slots over first level.
Oh yeah, so I had to bring him to the end of time to.
Actually, I think you might have gotten that before, before fighting the Black Tyranno, because you had access to the end of time. You just didn't know where the rest of your party was.
Yes, I believe that would have been an essential part of defeating the Black Tyranno.
That feels important, though you might not have, just on the basis of like chasing Ayla down and being short on time.
No, I feel like I would.
You might have taken the pterodactyls and gone. The Luruba will be fine for long enough for us to go get Frog some second level spell slots.
Yep.
We return to the end of time through the end. If I recall correctly, you then started using scrying in every time period on the basis that if someone is on the same plane of existence as you, scrying allows you to see them.
Yep.
And so you were able to quickly eliminate which time period they were in, narrow it down to the present, where I described, a scene of just two random people that you didn't recognize because they both had the ability to disguise self. And so you were able to then find them, reunite the group, get the gang all back together. Ayla at this point had joined the party, and the only question is, what the fuck is up with the gate in the Tyranno lair? Where does it go? Bringing you to Antiquity or Zeal.
Yes, I loved Zeal. So okay, we pop up in the snowy wastelands. I start to investigate around frozen blizzard land. I remember you got me to make some survival checks because I just kind of wandered around the map trying to find something in this snowy land until I finally stumbled upon a cavern. Upon the non-magic the Muggles hideout.
The Earthbound villagers, yes, the Earthbound.
Yes, and I arrive in this place and they have a trap door up towards the ceiling, and I'm like, hey, anybody home? They open up. They're like, ah, shit, it's magic folks. They close the door again, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go back, find a spell scroll of knock, or learn, or like prepare the spell knock, and I come back and I open the thing so that I can be like, all right, let's talk now. And then I remember just the most beautiful shenanigans once I find Magus.
Yeah, admittedly, like, this is when my memory of the game starts to get a little hazy. Like, for context, in case it hasn't been said out loud, we had already played this game years ago when we first started recording these. It has now been almost 5 years since we started playing this game. Actually, I think more than 5. I think we started in 2019.
Yes.
Which is horrifying. Time passes far too quickly. But this was all like 4 years ago, and we're starting to diverge more from the game as originally played. I can't remember if you went up to the floating isles first, or if you like started dealing with monsters around the Earthbound village at this point. Like, I don't know what you did next.
I don't think I ever dealt with like the monsters. I was super curious to find out like what was happening up in the islands in the sky.
I mean, you definitely did. I mean, especially like if at that point you were talking to the villagers, they'd be like, "Hey, there's like big monsters that are super close to our village." I think it would make sense that you like went to clear out the beast den at this point, and
yeah, I remember a couple of fights that were relatively easy, but that might be me remembering when I played the video game.
Which that would be very out of order doing the beast den at this point in time, but I can't quite remember, so let's just talk about Zeal.
So okay, the things that stand out to me in Zeal is that like I arrived a bit there and I'm like, the hubris. This is really cool, you know. Having floating islands is a great concept for to show the pride before the fall.
I do remember that phrase being said more than once. Yes.
Like just looking around and be like, oh my god, so many smart people. I found my people. Why are all of the smart people
so dumb?
So dumb.
Well, they wanted really good weather, so very much the same vibes as like Southern California. Like, so the weather's great. We're gonna die.
So like. I asked a lot of like questions about the society from the different characters that I was finding. I got a sense.
You definitely had tongues by this point, like just for clarity's sake.
I think Moral was concentrating on tongues at the end of time while I was going on missions.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you were leaving her behind, taking, I want to say, Frog and maybe Ayla? I don't remember who you had in your party. It might have been Chrono.
I think
I know you had Frog.
Chrono and Frog were I prefer spellcasters. So I think I left Ayla.
You're right. Because she's just a barbarian, yeah. And Chrono had some spellcasting capabilities, even if he wasn't a full spellcaster.
Yeah.
We had him as a Fighter 3 and then Storm Sorcerer the rest of the way. Marl was just a Divine Soul Sorcerer. Frog, Oath of the Crime Paladin. Ayla was a...
Beast.
Not Totem, Beast. The Tasha's Cauldron one. That's everyone we had so far. Yeah, so I know I definitely did do the Janus introduction. Little baby Magus being creepy with his kitty.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Did you put together that was Magus at that point? Because I remember describing his hair.
Yeah, because when I kidnapped Magus later, I also kidnapped his sister and his past self. So I must have figured it out in that moment. So yeah, I meet them. I meet like. So I remember meeting Queen Zeal and her like general and her daughter. But what really stuck with me was like the after that meeting, I keep exploring and I'm like, oh cool, what's in this room? And then like the Mammon machine was there, and like you describe it and I'm like, ooh yeah, that sounds cool and eldritch and like techno magical. I love it. And then you show me the image and I'm like, that's where they're getting their magic from? They're getting no guys
from the evil
like
Mammon machine.
And like the design in the Chrono Trigger game is so good because it like from your description I was like, okay, yeah, this is bad, and but then from you showing me the image I was like, oh, it's that specific flavor of bad. They all think they're wizards and artificers, but they're actually all warlocks of
that have literally made basically a deal with Mammon.
Yep.
Notably a devil.
Yeah, like that was definitely not lost on me. That like, oh yeah, it's named after a greed demon. Like I love that.
I think this was also what I remember distinctly is that you did find the hidden rooms of the various gurus. The new fight that I was like so proud of and thought would be such a challenge for you, and I remember you just fucking wiping the floor
with the new
with the new, just absolutely destroying them.
Level 9.
That definitely was not a level up, but it was still very fun. Oh yeah.
No, I was level 9. Yes. So the beautiful thing comes when like, oh, I notice the hooded figure who's the advisor to the queen. I recognize Magus, and afterwards he like we start talking, and I start understanding what's happening. He takes us down some corridors, and then he's like, we have this teleporter right here. So like you introduced that there were the teleporters that went from like fixed point to fixed point,
yes,
up and down. But you say, but like Magus with his sister and his former self and his cat takes all of us to like the teleportation circle reserved for the royal family. And this thing can take you anywhere.
Yes, like any member of the royal family can just teleport there and can just leave.
Yep.
And go anywhere, which I thought was an interesting mechanic to introduce. I mean, this is a high magic, like highest of high magic societies.
Yeah. And
like this is the royal family; they should deserve to have special powers, and it really just drives home the point of it's him. He's the guy. The little kid with is him. Is him.
Yeah.
Which like literally the characters in Chrono Trigger must have failed some damn insight checks to not figure out what the hell was going on with the prophet.
Yeah.
You can just hear the like BG3 sound rolls of.
Absolutely. So what I remember happening is that like he's like, this is what the plan is, this is what we're gonna do, and I'm like, okay, so this is what the plot is supposed to be. This like phrase trying to follow the plot of the video game, and I used telepathy or something to talk with Chrono and Frog, and I'm like, all right, stunning smite or something. We're all holding our actions. The moment he teleports us where we want to go, which is we didn't have the flying robots, the transport that goes through time yet.
No, we did not have the epoch at this point.
Okay,
no.
cool. So like, he's supposed to get us back. I
Like,
remember that in the cave.
The whole reason that you're like in game that you go and get the epoch is because you needed a separate way to get back into antiquity, because he like forces Scala to take you to the gate. Like he like has you show him where the gate is, has you walk through and have Scala lock it. Yes. So you become unable to access antiquity where the plot is.
Yes.
Forcing you to go on a side quest to go figure out how to get back there.
Yeah, I didn't do that because I didn't trust him at all. So the moment he teleports all of us to the portal, I have myself everyone holding their actions to basically like jump the guy, because he just used his action to teleport us. Like that's his turn. It's time to like take control of the plot. So we knock him unconscious. And then I'm like, all right, taking him into custody. He can't be trusted, but and I don't think I'll be able to trust him. But I have two very charismatic people who are like the goodiest of two shoes.
And they're not doing anything right now,
exactly,
really.
Because I was with, and so like I asked Marl and Chrono to take him not just to the end of time, because if he escapes from them, he could get back to this era. I tell them, go into the future, show him how bad it gets, and do some therapy to him over there. Yeah. Right? Just like convert him to our sides. See if he wants to be helpful at all, but also keep an eye out for him while I take care of the plot around here. Yeah. So I put him completely out of commission and forcibly recruit him earlier than I'm supposed to.
Yes,
I believe.
Which admit I kept him at the same, like he was the same level as he was in the fight against him that you had, and like so when he was introduced to the party, he just was a higher level than you and just stayed there for a little bit
until we caught up. Like he doesn't gain any level until we're
And I know as soon as you had him in the party, it was him, Frog, and as your like two party members, because he was a higher level spellcaster than anybody else. Yeah. Like, he was the only full spellcaster, including you, because you weren't you were 3 levels of a half caster.
Yeah. So it's always one level spellcaster lower than
he was, yeah.
Than him and Marl.
Yes, well, yes, that's right. But you just didn't like taking Marl with you. I don't really. I think you just thought that Frog was a more fun character, and they filled the same like team role as healers.
And also like she had better concentration and stay at camp spells than Frog did.
Yeah, like she was casting tongues and regeneration and stuff like this.
Later down it was regeneration. It might have been warding bond at different points in the plot line, but
I mean, all of this, I was still very new to 5e. I mean, you didn't really tell, like, even the last couple of videos that we put out, I did not know. Like, I was using these stat blocks and stuff, but I was not, like, personally knowledgeable of a lot of the stuff, which warding bond doesn't work at more than 60 feet. Like, tongues only lasts an hour. Like, none of this should have been working quite like we had it. But I think we had a really interesting story regardless. I mean, you weren't that big of an expert on 5e either at the time. So, it is what it is. But all this to say, you forcibly recruited Magus a little early.
Yep. Didn't get stuck out of antiquity, so I didn't go and look for the
But I don't remember if you happened to pick that. I think the future just made sense as the place to trap him because the Middle Ages. He's from the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Prehistory, you didn't want to potentially fuck stuff up.
Yeah,
Your time period, you didn't want him to fuck stuff up. The future, things are already messed up. And as soon as you suggested that, I was like, yes, the future, 100%. Because they don't come back when you go and fetch them. They are just exploring around.
Oh, yeah. So like when you have a prisoner and different time periods that you can access, the best place to put them is in the far future, because if they escape, they have less opportunity to change the whole timeline. That's the place where they have the least impact. It's also the place where if he escapes later, thanks to shenanigans that he did back in the past, like he might be able to give himself some help retroactively. But I was pretty confident that just leaving him with 2 of my competent people, he'd be taken care of. So like that was the reason behind this. But then they just went exploring and found the fucking
Guru Balthazar and his workshop, and they get the Wings of Time on their own. They have their own little side quest, so I can still introduce the Wings of Time into the game without Simon needing to get locked out of Zeal. So that was my fun little diversion, which I think was good. You know, they clearly had their own character arc happening, because, you know, by the time that Magus gets reintroduced to the party, he's like reluctantly helping, but still 100% neutral evil, like unflinchingly. Like, he has one goal, and it's save Scala's life, and it just so happens that you align with that.
Yeah.
He did not have a redemption arc. This is not a redeeming person. He was totally fine with committing a genocide in order to achieve his ends, and would do it again.
And I'm like, but like I as a player, I'm like, hey, it's his Zuko arc, you know? He gets a second chance. Like, Marl and Chrono are saying that they're good with him, so I'm gonna just, hey, they're the moral like, I need the moral centers.
Which, they feel confident he's not gonna start attacking y'all or doing just evil things for shits and giggles, and what y'all are doing seems like the most likely way to actually defeat Lavos. So they trust him with that, and I do try my best to explain, like, they trust him to work with the team, and the team isn't doing evil stuff, and he's only one vote on the team, so we can probably keep him from doing evil stuff as a group, but he will go lone wolf if pressed. So, like, be careful still.
Yeah, but it was also a question of like, hey, when you take the time to sit down and discuss our next steps, all of his ideas are fucking stupid. But because he's on our side, we get to discuss it, and I get to like show him how stupid some of his plans are, which means he's more likely to be doing our plan, which makes at least a little bit of sense. So I was hoping I could just like keep being like, you know what makes sense? Being good people in this situation all the way until he was redeemed. And
well, let's continue.
Spoilers.
I do the one like downside, because I had planned on, because there's like 4 or 5 different like secret rooms in the future, which like I feel like done a pretty decent job of like establishing that they were there, they were scattered around, like each of the domes had one.
Yes.
And like I fully wanted, you know, you like in order to like try to find like what you're gonna do, like you now have this powered up amulet that's capable of opening the doors, and like because I had described a very similar door in the palace, just like in the game, so like you had every reason to suspect this, and if you didn't, then I was going to have another character be like, hey, didn't we see something like that before? So that you could then go and investigate those, and have in each of those little rooms have Balthazar have left like notes and clues to where he is. So like I wanted to have a little like find quest for Balthazar himself, so that you like would have stuff leading you in that direction.
if I remember correctly, what happened was that like they had made like okay, when I was done with Zeal for a time, I went back and I was like, all right, time to go grab Marl, Chrono, and Magus back from the future, see how they're doing. I arrived there at the gate and they're not fucking there, so I'm like, okay, well, they went somewhere. We like grab the bike that still has like a healing pod attached to it. We drive around to try to find them, and then so like in following them we ended up doing the same like plot
that's right.
until we get to the place where Balthazar
Yes.
is. I remember that he had transferred his mind into the new, and that when I tried to interface with the new, like, am I misremembering that like we had to stick a hard drive inside of the new to like?
I have no idea. That sounds funny.
I remember.
It seems plausible.
I remember the new having to open its mouth so that we stuck like a USB key in the top of its mouth, and there was another one near its butt. But I might be misremembering this.
I do not remember that. We can go with that. That's fine. I don't know any context. Clueless. There's a lot of news running around at this point in the game.
Yeah, lots of information.
Like maybe.
So yeah, we get the Wings of Time. What else did we do in Zeal that veered off from the plot? Because I think like I went and I got the Guru by fighting. I remember how I fought like the little demon, the big demon thing.
It's the Giga Gaian, I think.
Yes.
Giga something.
Yes.
Giga Chad.
I dropped a book full of Cliffs of Wardings on.
I think about it every time that spell comes up, literally every single time.
It was expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a lot of gold, but I was level 9 with a bunch of stuff, and I was finally in an economy that recognized all of my magical stuff, and I could take whatever they had in this place that was like common but very magical and bring it to other time periods and ruin the economy. I had enough gold to drop in it this book with so many pages with Cliffs of Warding on it.
I think it was 36 glyphs of warding, each of which stored a upper level fireball spell.
Yep. We rolled all the damage, and that was the boss fight. That was it.
That level 10. Here we come. Oh god, it was so silly. I did have all of that prepared. Let's pause a moment to look at what I did have prepared on that. Which, by the way, this is the end of time, as mentioned in I believe part 2, but we never actually showed it.
This is as it was right before we ended the campaign.
Yes, all of this is end of campaign stuff.
Okay. Giga Mutant.
Giga Gaia, yes. Alright, so what did we use to build the Giga Gaia? Gargantuan Monstrosity, Heal Reconstructed. Oh, I definitely just made this. Burrow Speed, though. Maybe I didn't just make this.
Heal and Reconstruct appendages sounds like okay, hold on. Tremor Sense, Blind Sight, Passive Perception, Challenge Rating 15. I can look it up while you keep.
I might have just taken any CR 15 and then added what I wanted it to have. I think that's much more likely. So in concept, getting the actual information on what exactly it was wouldn't do much. But let's look at the left and right while we're at it. Because the left and right hands do different things. Okay, this is a medium dragon. This is I think young dragon, or maybe a wormling.
CR4 speaks Draconic, multi-attack, Fire Blast. Yeah, it's a dragon thing. You put prep into this fight, and this one is a challenge to cold.
So yeah, I think this is a white and red wormlings, but I gave the white wormling a heal as well. Healing damage. Yeah. So, and I did the staple annoying thing of bosses that heal each other, and it didn't fucking matter.
Yeah, they didn't have time to heal because there was only one turn in this fight.
Yep. I mean, especially like I had established that Melchior was here, but seemed to be in an impenetrable shield, and yeah, it worked.
Impenetrable. That means I can just fire. I can just nuke the place.
And you did.
Yeah, like I have a little homunculus new that can just fly anywhere and drop the book from above, skip the whole dungeon.
Mm-hmm. So you, at this point, then had Melchior. You were level 10. You were on track to, like, you recruited Magus successfully. You had the Wings of Time. The only thing left to do at this point was to take the ruby knife into the Ocean Palace and take on Queen Zeal and stop the empowering of the Mammon Machine. I don't know how it ended up that Scala was still with Zeal at this point, because she's important on the whole empowering the Mammon Machine part of things.
Oh, I think that I was like, I was bringing her with me because she was like, I want to talk to the queen.
Maybe? Okay. The way it plays out in the game, which I know we've said that we're assuming that you guys have watched this, have played the game, because a lot of this doesn't make sense if you don't have that context. I'm explaining it to Simon again.
Yeah, I forget what the video game plot was, because
So, in-game, after freeing Melchior, Scala and Baby Janice show back up in the Earthbound Cave. They have been followed there by Dalton, who then, using the rest of the cave basically as hostages, tells Scala, you're coming with me, and she and Janice then leave with him. And so, okay, oh crap, we gotta go right fucking now. Obviously, if Dalton walks into this Earthbound village, you just kill him. You absolutely nuke this motherfucker if he shows up. I had every confidence, so I know I didn't do that, because that would have been the height of stupidity. I don't know what I did.
Oh, I think it's pretty easy. She wasn't always within my sight. I wasn't, I was still limited in the number of people I could take through the time gates, so I had to leave her behind at sometimes, and you were just like, okay, she either decided to go or she got kidnapped.
Yeah, I think that was it. You come back to the Earthbound village, she had been there with Janice. You come back, they're like, Dalton showed up, threatened us all, and that's what happened. It was just off screen, because if it was on screen, then you would have just
exactly
murked him.
Exactly. You started figuring out hey, if I want this plot beat from the video game to work, Simon can't be in the scene. He can't be in that whole time period, or he's gonna fuck up that.
You gotta be really busy somewhere else.
Yeah, sometimes I gotta tell, not show, because if he has line of sight on it, he's gonna cast some spells and fuck it up.
I had learned by this point. I knew.
So sometimes it's tell, don't show, because the players can't be there.
I know for a fact that for this fight you did have Magus and Frog, because you did want to make good use of Magus's I can teleport anywhere in the world that I want to ability. Because that's really fucking good.
And Frog was in the group because he was the person most likely to, no hesitation, if I get taken down by Magus, take down Magus.
Yes,
right?
and the most equipped to do so, because he still has the Masamune and the Hero Stage.
And
Like he's the one that hit the finishing blow last time.
like,
He is just as likely, and now Magus doesn't even have silvery barbs.
and Madras knows that I'm the only thing keeping him
Like
alive from Frog, so it was the perfect team to bring on this mission.
Yeah, you have the most useful person possible for this setting, and then the guy most likely to kill him if he goes rogue.
If he goes rogue again, I'm like Frey was constantly like, shit, I want to like bring Magus back into the plot, but you're like the way that he was, but it makes no sense for him to go rogue at this time.
Yeah.
Like, because
he had a really good babysitter.
And it worked out so well that it was Frog that was in my party. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna.
Eagle-eyed viewers are already piecing some things together here because Chrono isn't a permanent party member. So things are progressing very differently, and we have teased this more than enough. So I think it is time to finally lead into Zeal's endgame.
I'm gonna find.
Ooh, you can search pages now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, hold on. What did you call?
Ocean Palace, probably. Yes.
There we go. Okay, so one of the things I remember is I crashed the Wings of Time into the
stairs. Yes.
The stairs. Yes. Okay. So hold on, but that was above this.
It might have been, or it might just have been those stairs. I don't really remember, but I do recall.
Yes, it was right here.
Yes.
I think
there's a room with more stairs. Is this as zoomed out as it goes? Is this all we have?
No, I think it's possible. Okay, hold on. Tokens on the map layer. There we go. If I drag it, yep, there's more. That's how we did it. Okay, let me. Cool. So we get down through this elevator. I don't remember how I brought the. No. Okay. Yeah.
Roll 20. Maybe the page size needs to get adjusted.
Okay, I'll do that. I don't remember how this whole elevator shaft. I brought the Wings of Time down here.
It was not capable of actual flight at this point. You combined it with the hover car.
I did.
And you rolled a 30.
Yes, I did. We had to take off the healer thing because but like
you only barely rolled a 30, so I only let it like hover. It was not a flying machine.
Yes.
But you like
I was like, all right,
I was gonna let you roll it, fully anticipating a fail, but you rolled a 30, so I had to give you something.
Yeah, Tinker's tool and okay. There we go. It was great. So what I remember happening is that I got the specific coordinates of the palace, right, from the people, and then I went to a different time period, and I put the Wings of Time on hover in the spot where I knew that the Ocean Palace had been or would be. I don't remember if I was in antiquity or something, but basically I go there and I'm like, all right, and now we turn it on and we're inside of the palace. We're driving down through this elevator shaft. We get through this fight and we crashed it here on this platform right here. And then I was like, all right, we've already skipped most of the dungeon. We're running down the stairs. Frey's making, like, I remember you did a great job of like just throwing a bunch of monsters at me that were like flying behind and like causing trouble while we were just trying to like speed run it. We make it down here, and I think we jump almost like I think that we jumped to the Marmon machine, and then things happened the way that they happen in the video game, right?
Which I know I have more than one Lavos character sheet. Do we still have the let's see, copy of Lavos? Great, I did not label these great. Whichever one has the most hit points is okay. Challenge 30.
Challenge 22.
That's not it. And then.
So you, I think what I told
22. Okay, so this I believe is my Ocean Palace Lavos. Obviously, I took Tarask. I think mostly just for like hit points, because I definitely added quite a bit here. So we've got magic resistance is Tarask, but reflective carapace. No, that's also still Tarask.
It doesn't have legendary resistances and legendary actions, as far as I remember, but like the Chaos Stone was something else that you added.
Yes, DC 17 Wisdom saving throw, and you had no clerics or druids.
I was like, hey, Frey, give this Lavos the stats you're planning to give it at the end of the game. Let's see let's see how this fight goes. And I got absolutely wrecked.
Yes, this was the one time that I was able to make a like god level creature exactly as intimidating as it deserved to be. And it played out. Like, I destroyed Simon.
Is that a spoiler for Trigger when we did Final Fantasy?
Yeah, I think a little bit, maybe.
It is a spoiler, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that campaign.
We'll get there eventually. But no, I absolutely murdered him to death. I think giving the opportunity to really lean into the overkill of the situation, and like not be afraid of killing you because I have a plan.
Yep.
And it involves killing you.
Yep.
Like, it's not just so much like, okay, well, I think this could probably kill them, so it'll be about a balanced fight, versus I want to murder you to death. I don't want your corpse to even twitch. I don't want there to be a corpse. It should be ash. I got it.
Yeah, but well, like, I was still conscious to see Frog sacrifice before I passed out, and
so enough teasing. It makes so much sense here that, you know, we have the most storybook hero character in the entire game. He's more storybook hero than Chrono is, by kind of a lot, because that's his whole character design. Yeah. And he is the one who wields the Masamune in the first place. So giving him the ruby knife, having him be the one that forges it into itself. He is like the alpha and omega of this sword. Like, he is truly the master of it in a way that no one else could ever be. Really, finally, fully fulfilling that, like, living up to the hero that Cyrus believed he could be. And doing so teamed up with Magus in this ancient freaking palace, and being the one to make this sacrifice, then it's just
it makes more sense than Chrono doing it, unless when you consider the Dragon Ball aesthetic, where Goku is always the one sacrificing himself and dying in those very heroic moments. So having the character who looks like Goku who's the main point of view character in that game makes sense. But I just, oh man, you did a little like. I was falling unconscious. Frog gets up onto his sword. He's looking around. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I won't be able to do the rest of the journey with you. And like, I'm like, you're about to get killed. Just fucking do it. Don't monologue. And he starts and he like monologues. He talks a little bit to Scala. He says some words to Magus who's full unconscious, can't hear him, and then like very dramatically like runs up and and
Gets dissolved.
gets dissolved like Chrono does.
With just a spark of light. But I think one of the most vivid memories for me in this campaign was like as we were like in the Ocean Palace, like the whole time Simon was doing shenanigans with the Epoch tumbling down the stairs. Like I just had in my head like this is gonna be so fucking good. Like this is one of the best story beats that I'm ever going to get to GM. Like I had been like thinking about this for days at this point because like you'd established your team. Like I had like a whole week to think about it and like set things up. Like the whole time I was preparing the Ocean Palace and then that you were skipping all of the Ocean Palace. It was in my head that this moment, we can't put it into words. It was too good. Like,
well, we could.
We clearly could at the moment, but like it was more
moment,
than just the words. It's the you had to be there. But I think, dear viewer, if you have played the game, if you love this game, if you love these characters, you see the vision. Like I think we might be on the same page here because it's too good to not get if you're familiar at all with the setting. Like I've even told like other people about it. Like, you know, my friend ran this campaign and like his party going into the Ocean Palace was Magus and Frog and their eyes light up.
Yeah. And so like I know that we do the whole sacrifice thing. Okay, so what happens after that, I got really depressed and we wake up on the shores. Mm-hmm. Okay. I loved this section.
This is our Lucca alone arc, yes.
Yes. We didn't, yeah. So I wake up on the shores, there's the leftover bits of the Wings of Time completely broken up. I'm like, oh no, he died. It should have been me. And like, Magus is alive. Like all of the flying cities are like falling into the ocean or exploding on the ground.
Yeah, and
like
you have like the refugees of Zeal are mingling with the Earthbound ones because they're warlocks. They've just lost a lot of their like magical capabilities, so they're kind of screwed.
Yeah, no magic.
And like those that are there and do have some magic, you know, the sorcerers of the group are like have made a vow against magic. Because it's, you know, destroyed so much, and also it was part of the terms of them getting assistance from the Earthbound because they need it. But, you know, they have this whole underclass that they've been oppressing for a while, so they, you know, they're asking for some assurances.
I don't remember how I did it, but I had a persuasion roll at some point right before the Ocean Palace to tell everyone, hey, evacuate, get out of the floating cities, like. And I rolled pretty high.
Skywrite. You used Skywrite.
Yes, that's what I did. Oh my god.
Yeah, and you rolled really high on the persuasion, which you are not a social character.
Yeah, nope.
I am certain you had an 8 in charisma, and you just rolled. I think it was a nat 20 on your Skywrite message, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. A fair number of people.
The Skywrite was like, get the funk out of the flying cities. They're about to fall to the ground.
And like it looked enough like an official warning system message that people were like,
I don't, like, we've established, Trey, I don't know the spoken way to speak the language of that time, but we had discussed previously because I was an architect.
With artifacts and like scrolls and all of this stuff that you've been coming across Zelian for your entire life.
So I was like, I know written Zelian. I don't have, there's no way I have disadvantage on rolling to write in the sky something in Zelian because that's what I'm most like it's one of the languages of my character sheet. So that was
yeah, that was good.
So I don't know if you ended up like, okay, there are Zillion refugees either way in those scenes, right? But I feel like I could take credit for
Yes, very much so. Like, because you hadn't played the game up to this point. I don't even think, did you ever finish the game? I think like you had stopped playing before this point.
I didn't get past the Ocean Palace.
Yeah.
I think.
So, yeah, you didn't really have that context to know, like, oh, well, I mean, this was always going to happen. but like it really, to you, I'm sure, felt like these people are only alive thanks to me. Frey invented them coming to this village just because I did such a good job, and like, you know, it hurt me a little bit to tell you, but they would have died in my campaign if you hadn't done that. Yeah. Maybe, probably.
No, you needed enough to be alive to have children with to transfer the magic descendants back into antiquity and the modern day.
Oh, I mean, I am enough anti-eugenics that now that I hope that I might have just, you know, some of the Earthbound ones also had the potential for magic. It was just being ignored. And so, like, yeah. But I don't know if I would have 5 years ago. So that's an interesting question. I think I probably would have stuck with the game just because I tended to be kind of a stickler for that. But
you were trying to stick to
I was trying.
like,
I was trying.
Yeah.
Sometimes I succeeded, and sometimes it surprised me on how good it could be by diverting.
Yes.
That's really the joy of this art form, like especially like reimagining like other stories. Like it gives you the opportunity to like delve into the pieces that don't make sense and like try to find other ways to be compelling.
Yeah. So I'm stuck in that time period because I have both the gun and the wings of time. Nobody can come and rescue us, so it's up to me to like fix the wings of time and get
because the portal has been destroyed essentially by the tsunami. Like it is entirely up to you.
That's right.
Because you have the gate key. So yeah, we just have this like contemplative, like you and Magus bond a little bit because like
he like so I was like depressed. I role played as basically like he gives me the plot information. He tells me, oh, the villagers are cooking. You need food, and like I just start like hyper focusing on the repairs for days on end on like repairing this time machine to be like and like blaming myself for Frog's death. And also kind of blaming him. I know he wasn't the most helpful during the fight as he could have been.
Anyone was particularly helpful in that fight. I did beef up a Tarask's damage output.
But like I was role-playing so cooperative that he had to have some moments of like that frog, he was righteous and you did everything you could, like we approximated those moments while him never going into like sympathetic or even nice, but just like I'm trying to be those things.
Yeah, it was a little bit of like that frog sure was like capable.
He was competent he at hitting me.
He was competent and like very self-righteous, like just the right amount of like kind of an asshole about your friend that just died, but the correct amount for someone who did not like them.
He was so good at stopping me from doing what I wanted to do, which was going off script.
Yeah. He got you back on track.
And I hated him for it. Anyways, the Blackbird shows up.
Yes.
With the general, and they arrive like I'm almost done repairing the wings of time, and they arrive, they land when we're having a nice, we survived party with the villagers, when like work has you've been showing the like people from the earth showing the basic like cooking and gardening skills,
kindergartner skills, but yes.
Yeah, to the Zillions.
I did make a point of mentioning the tree, I'm sure, around here. The like plant that's said to be able to revive a forest, because this shows up. I know planted that seed because we were going to do Sunken Desert as one of the mini bosses to get you up to level 20. But just, I know I established that at this point, even if you do not remember.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, it might have even just been as simple as like someone like nurturing a tree that like glowed a little bit. I don't know.
So he shows up. And there's a bunch of like civilians behind us. So I telepathically tell Magus, "Hey, I'm gonna let myself be captured. Don't intervene, because I don't want to have to protect all of those civilians when I fight them." And I had a feature or another that allowed me, like when they knocked me unconscious to 0 HP, to actually be at 1 HP. Mm-hmm. And so like I cast some spells discreetly to be like, oh, I'm unconscious. I guess they're carrying me into their huge technical ship. My like perfect environment for me to be in. I get in there. I don't remember the details, but I remember pulling a fire alarm and having everybody evacuate through the ship while I was disguised as one of their
one of the foot soldiers, I think. Yeah.
Like as one of the foot soldiers to get to all of the systems that I needed to like lock them all out, and then I turned on the Blackbird. I get it flying, get it hover, aim all of their cannons at the enemy, and I'm like, hey, surrender. And I didn't have to fight my way through the Blackbird. I kind of just hacked it to a large degree, and then I got my hands on a little magic nuke.
Okay. Because, I mean, really, honestly, you're not that far off. Because, like, the Blackbird in-game is all about, like, sneaking through and coming up with a clever plan to, like, get your equipment back. And, like, try to avoid as many fights as you can until, like, your party has their stuff back. And, like, the boss fight at the end of this is literally a joke.
Yeah.
So it's very, like, satisfying that, like, you found a very different way to do a heist, but you still made it a heist level.
Yeah. You, while I was... Okay, so I think what happened is that they were about to take my stuff. When we got near the ship, I stopped pretending to be awake. Misty Step started like infiltrating the whole thing. So I still had all of my equipment with me.
Yeah.
And Frey was like, okay, Simon is getting too close to taking control over this thing that it is not supposed to be for the player, right? And
yeah, you were very close to having the Blackbird.
And
Never
so,
mind the Epoch, the Blackbird.
And so he was like, they've activated an explosion sequence, and I was like, cool, I deactivated it. I successfully did that. I don't know how you took the... I think the only problem with the Blackbird is that I had no way of like getting it to different timelines.
Yeah.
So I ended up just taking its like ammunition, which you had given me this weird nuke that did like a bunch of force damage, like 30 d10, something like that. And it was like, okay, cool, you can have this for later. And I was like, cool, that's gonna be my opening salvo against Lavos. I took it. I finished repairing the Blackbird. In fact, they'd finished the repairs for me. We go back.
Nice, so considerate.
Yeah, we reunite with everyone. It was like a sobering moment.
Which you then did actually activate the self-destruct sequence on the Blackbird and like destroy the ship. I do recall that. Like, you're like, I have no use for this. This is only going to be used for evil. Everyone get off the ship, and then I'm gonna blow it up.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you definitely destroyed the fuck out of that thing.
Okay. I remember some like really sad role play when I told everyone that Frog was dead, and then I have no idea how we got onto the. What did we do after that, Fred?
I think you went right into Egg of Time. That is to say, like, you know, you have this like mournful conversation like with your whole group. Like everyone obviously is distraught except Magus. And you talk with Gaspar, who at this point you realize is the guru of time and is named Gaspar. Well, I mean, you'd already realized he was from Zeal, but like you finally had like the full like he's telling you his backstory instead of just you correctly guessing it.
I was like, hey, you could have told me all of this so long ago, and it might have been actually helpful.
I don't remember if I had successfully planted some foreshadowing about the Egg of Time by now. You know what I'm talking about, right? So he hands you an egg and says, like, if you can take this to, like, you know, I don't know how to activate this. I was one part of the team doing this. You have to go talk to Balthazar to activate it. But obviously Gaspar knows that Balthazar survived Zeal. So Balthazar can give you the information on how to use this, and it might fix your friend being dead. So you then go back to Balthazar, which I think this is the point in which you like extract data from its mouth. I make you actually climb Death Peak because it had like swirling winds around it. Yep. And like you didn't want to risk damaging the Epoch at this point in time because this was part of your plan for Lavos. Let's see.
Oh, I can look for it if you
Lavos
want.
Spawns.
I remember,
obviously like defeating these counted as a boss fight.
Ancient Black Dragon or Adult Black Dragon. That's what you had used as a base for those.
Yeah.
I remember the fight with them. I had Magus with me, and it was great. I remember it being really fun, but I don't actually remember the details of like what was a challenge about it and how we overcame it. I just remember it being like really fun. We were trying to kite it from a distance because it didn't look like it could move super well, so like we were like higher ground shooting it down, and we were invisible and we got past a bunch of them, but I was like, hey, now that we're past them, we also need to kill them because we can't have them wrecking the Earth as well.
Or other planets, yeah.
Or
which
other
is
planets,
sort of
yeah.
the implication of the game is that these are going to other planets. I think, as I recall, because the needle attack that I had written down was just a melee, because that's just the claws. I think I may have said, it's ranged, just to, like, have something that it could do against you, or I might have just let it be a sitting duck. Either way, like, I was cool with you skipping these fights. You just would not have hit level 20.
But I want him to level up.
So, you had good in and out of character reasons to do this. I have 2 Death Peaks? Oh no.
That's okay.
Although, oh no, as far as which one's I don't think either of them have any of the characters on them. They must have done some kind of update that messed with some of the stuff. Or maybe I stopped preparing quite as much at this point because I knew that a lot of this was going to get skipped.
No, I remember I did so many athletics checks to get up that section.
It may just be that it's clear because you cleared it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Death Peak was definitely fun. We get up there, you have the touching reunion with Frog, which felt really good. It did mean that we didn't get because one of my complaints about the pacing of Chrono Trigger, oh there we go, is the fact that because Chrono dies and then just immediately you go and resurrect him, that it, to me at least, always felt like a little rushed. But
we were all the way down here. I don't. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was certainly something you'd earned. You'd at least had a character arc mourning Frog, so we got to spend some time actually being sad about it.
Yeah.
Before just immediately he's back. So I was still pretty satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And that is sort of the next place that the main story is pushing you. It's the last optional main story quest before taking on Lavos. Everything else definitely is more side questy, but this one doesn't feel like a side quest. It feels like the main quest that just you don't have to do.
So do we want to talk about, okay, I remember vaguely all of the other stuff that I did to get to level 20. But I want to talk about, most of what I want to talk about in this time is Flea and the other ones.
I do think that Flea and Ozzy is on the more interesting side of the spectrum. I do want to touch on some of the other ones and save that one a little bit for last because it's quite good.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Frog's story, in which he is able to clear the ruins out for Cyrus, I think mostly just goes to plan. I don't make you do a bunch of architects because obviously you're just gonna fly through that anyways. I think you might have paid them to restore the grave anyways, but if you did, it was just for respecting Cyrus, and not as a mechanic, because I thought that would be very annoying. I know I hated it. You have to keep going back and forth, clearing the dungeon and then go talk to the architects. And even if you clear the dungeon all the way the first time, it's still 2 different build phases you have to go through. It's awful. So we skipped a lot of that. The Rainbow Shell, like we mentioned in session 1 or 2, you got Toma to join your party. So you had 4 party members for the Monster's Claw. Which, oh yes, I did. Are we showing camera?
Nope.
We did find an image, a real-world image for the rainbow, because I didn't want to deal with just the 16-bit. +3 katana extends critical hit range by 1 for all attacks made with the rainbow.
It was for Chrono.
Explicitly stated to stack with other critical expansion items. Very much for Chrono, just as in game, but very, very I feel like that's the best representation of his ultimate weapon, at least in vanilla. We were not dealing with what's it called, the Dream Shard or whatever. I did not go into that at all. Spoiler alerts. So we then the Rainbow Shell quest continues. After we deal with the Monster Claw, Toma survives because why would he die? Because he was with you.
Yeah. He was barely with me. I was keeping him behind and safe.
It's just because it was his mission that he was there, that he was not fighting. Yeah. He was. I think I don't remember what. I think I gave him a veteran stat block, and even then, that is way weaker than you at level 13, 14, 15. So yeah, he was very much hanging behind. So you get the Rainbow Shell. You bring it to Guardia Castle, just because you've got nothing to do with this, and then I had Marl be like, let's talk to my dad before we go on this suicide mission. I'd kind of like to settle things, and you go. Guardia is facing trial. You have to prove his innocence. I don't remember what you did here, but I remember there being shenanigans. No memory?
No memory.
Complete blank?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's been 5 years.
Like I remember fighting a giant fire eyeball and winning because I made myself immune to fire.
That's the Sunstone quest. Yes.
And I remember the the big ship full of monsters that I lost 2 party members in. No, one.
The Ocean Palace.
Yeah,
Yes.
One party member in, trying to get through the normal way. Then I went back with 2 other party members, including Flea, resurrected him. I think it was Frog that had died. And so I had 4 members in my party when I managed to skip. Okay, so what was it? I was ethereal and invisible, and that didn't work to get me all the way there. I don't remember how but I know that like the second time I came, I was like, all right, second plan, better plan, and we got directly to the big boss fight. But that's all I remember.
So the Mega Mutant was a pit fiend. I don't remember if that was the one that tore you down. I think it might have been the Terra Mutant, which is also a pit fiend, but I beefed it up a little bit more. Some legendary resistances. Blasphemous Word. Yes, I gave the pit fiend some legendary actions. Each non-undead creature within 10 feet. Oh, I gave it the Mummy Lord's Blasphemous Word. That's what I did. So this is a mixed Pit Fiend and Mummy Lord. And then the Giga Mutant, I have still a Pit Fiend. That's right. Terra Mutant is the most beefed up. So the Giga Mutant has a little bit more stats, a little higher damage on everything. And then I gave it like Mummy Lord features for the Terra Mutant, which is fun. Black Omen was very fun. I also think had a turtle dragon in there, which you skipped. You were just like, that's big and scary. I'm out.
Like you had made something like very dangerous to the point where I lost a party member the first time around. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how when I returned how I skipped everything, but I did.
Yeah.
I went almost directly to the boss.
I think you were just like, wait, why am I not using teleportation? We're in Antiquity. Oh, I think you hadn't been in Antiquity originally. Like you'd been fighting it in like one of the other time periods, and I think you might have been in 1000 AD originally, because I had given you the hint that like in Chrono Trigger, if you beat it first in 1000 and then in 600 and then in Antiquity, you get like triple the items, triple the experience, etc. So I think you were originally trying to do that.
Mm-mm.
No?
No, there's no way you'd give me more
levels.
Levels, and Frog's body would have decomposed if I had tried to do it in a different timeline. So I tried on in the same time period both times.
Okay, that's right, because you had to go back in and get the body.
I
think you just teleported into the spot that you had Frog, teleported back out, and then just tried it in Antiquity so you could use Magus's like teleport anywhere thing.
Ooh, that would make a lot of sense.
So I don't know if I would have let the teleport anywhere still work after Zeal had fallen. I don't know. I don't remember either, but I do remember you skipping a lot of that fight. We then...
All that I really have left to talk about is the final fight, because that's some of what I remember.
We did
most.
skip talking about Flea and Ozzy because we wanted to deal with that. So let's talk about Flea and Ozzy now.
I invented therapy, and I had Robo do it for me. So basically, like, I go back, I capture the 3 of them in a side quest or something, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you the, like, there's no reason to kill you since I haven't killed no, wait, hold on. Did I kill Magus first and then go and get them?
Maybe?
Okay, so at some point I'm talking to Magus and he's like, I'm not changing. I'm not becoming a better person. And so I have this realization of like, oh shit. So I get a group meeting at the end of time with everybody else involved, and I'm like, hey, can we have an intervention for mages? And if it doesn't work, can we like vote on what we do? And with him right in front of the room, we end up like deciding to that he's like, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change my ways and become less of less of an evil person. And I'm like, even if that means we kill you? And he was like, yes. And so we kind of just killed him, and then later used his corpse as one of the whites for to fight the final boss. I went back and I collected enough dead bodies to throw to fill a what's the dimensional room gate spell that you did that has like 30 by 30.
I know it's one of the higher level spells. I think it's like mini plane,
Demiplane, that's the one, yes. So I had to fill every square of the demiplane, and so after I'd recruited like the robots, and had all of my party members that weren't on the Wings of Time in there, I filled the rest with whites. I remember I renamed the Wings of Time. I wrote Cyrus, I think.
Yes,
I wrote Cyrus on it.
You called it the Cyrus in honor of Frog, who we had just lost.
Yes, so it was. We weren't calling it the Wings of Time anymore because I had like written on it while I was repairing it.
Yes, no, that is very, very true. So I have been taking some of the like legendary items that I put together for the side quest.
It's not showing it.
It's not?
No, you have to click
here.
You're
right.
Then you have to click off the webcam.
That makes sense. Okay. So we've got the Hadean Sickle, which obviously we got for doing Magus' side quest. I have the Black Gemstone, which was successfully found by Simon. Basically just giving him a free 8-level spell slot because he clearly needed that. I've got the Green Dream, which is, basically does the same function of restoring you to life the first time that you die while wearing it. I decided I wanted to put some decent loot at the end of Ayla's mission of the Giant's Claw. So we had the Dragon Mask, I believe, came out of that, as well as Grabthar's Hammer, which was meant to be, Ayla is a barbarian in this game, but like even beast barbarians are still better if they're wielding a weapon. So I gave her a maul, and named it after Galaxy Quest. I think it's literally a reskinned D&D item, but I was still happy with that. That felt good to me. Let's see. Simon is clearly very invested in going over the different items that I have, but I know that it's interesting to me to look through some of the interesting like Ruby Vest, just resistance to fire damage, exactly the same as in the game. Scala's Amulet, resistance to force damage and immunity to damage from the magic missile spell. I know that's obviously not exactly what that does in game, but it felt like a pretty good reskinned item to give to Magus, especially as a wizard, but also as something that Scala is protecting from.
Are you sharing all of the weapons with the YouTube commenter who got us to restart this?
I mean, maybe. I think it is only fair that I show some of my preparation materials, since that is what got me back in.
Thank you, YouTube commenter. If you hadn't decided to do a Lucca Trigger game and comment on our video, we wouldn't have rewatched those old videos, and Frey wouldn't have wanted to. Well, okay, maybe.
It might not have happened. So the Wonder Shot, which obviously was Lucca's keystone item, I don't think it ever really got used. You were entirely spellcasting by this point. But +2 magic weapon. Instead of doubling your damage dice, roll a d6 and use it as a multiplier. Counts as an arcane focus.
You gave me so many magic items. Towards the end, I sold so much of them to create more, to buy like.
And that's true. What do we have in to sell?
Simulacrum. Like I was buying like stuff to make simulacrums. I was buying like glyphs of warding. We were talking about like, hey, this planet is so small. Which economies am I ruining? Like which timeline, which time periods have their economies absolutely ruined by me needing to sell and buy those resources?
So we have the prismatic circlet, which I did instead of either the prismatic dress or I think it was called the prismatic circlet in game. I always forget which translation calls which localization, I should say. Any creature who targets you with an attack must make a wisdom saving throw first. Yes. That felt like the best possible protection effect to give.
Did you write the spell save DC?
Nope.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely put a spell save DC on there. Probably pretty high, 22 or so. Cloak of Billowing. Oh, I had this in Magus's equipment when he first came on, so that he could use a bonus action to make it billow dramatically.
Which is why it ended up in the sold/used folder. Yeah. That's... Do you want to keep clinking through all of the objects and monsters that you made while I describe what happened with Flea and...
Yeah, go ahead, though. You had successfully described Flea having gone through therapy. I think...
in a previous video?
No, just now. Before you went to go get the nectarine.
No.
You invented therapy, you said.
Yes. So, I was... when I killed Magus, I was missing a key component of my plan to kill Lavos. Because having a high-level wizard was kind of an essential part. So I was like, well, there's a hot transcoded one that I sent to the future with Robo to like talk about their feelings for as many years as it takes. So like Robo sent them back to me one by one. First Flea, that I like took on a mission for like the Ocean Palace Plus, the one that was like flying up in the air.
Yes, the Black Omen.
Yeah, and we started a romance, and because she was like super hot and also a high-level spellcaster that I really wanted to have in my team.
Which also, just a note here, that we did opt to, I think Flea used they, them pronouns, not she, her.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Because, like, you know, Flea has the line of, like, man, woman, what does it matter? I'm beautiful.
Yes.
Which is just so non-binary. Like, why are we forcing gender onto this poor, androgynous, fabulous spellcaster when clearly their gender is drama?
Yeah.
And beauty.
And fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that, like, Slasher came out second and Robo was like, yes, it took 10 more years for this person to redeem himself, but he has
No, we said it was so long that he now is too old to like feel comfortable entering combat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was way more than 10 years. It
Yes.
was like 30.
And the elder Namekian guy. Okay, Ozzy?
Yeah, that's what I said. Ozzy was the one that it took like.
Yes.
Yes.
So like the soldier. There were 3 of them. The soldier, it was like
Slash. Yes, Slash. It was like 10 years, but you left him behind because he wasn't a spellcaster.
yes. And then Ozzy was when Ozzy came out, like Robo was he was so old that I showed Frey what the Namekian elder looked like to be like. So he looks like this now. And he was basically Robo was like, he's finally finished with therapy. He's literally on his deathbed. There he goes. He's dead. So like we redeemed him, just not in a way that Frank would let me have another high level spellcaster for the final fight. And that's when I started preparing for the final fight. So I want you to imagine the first thing that Lavos sees when I come for him is the wings, the flying ship Cyrus. Yeah,
Yes.
pops up with Flea, myself, and I don't remember who else was in there. We have a globe of invulnerability on us. We dropped the nuke that we had gotten from the Blackbird. It burns through one of his forms, but he's like indestructible beyond a certain amount of HP of damage. So then right after that, I open a gate to my demiplane where I had stored robots from the future. I had a bunch of whites, including Magus. Magus made it into this final fight. Just he was an undead. The rest of my party. So like I had all of those character sheets to control while Frey was throwing at me throwing like huge explosions. I remember this fight took us like hours, but I was using like all sorts of spells. I had so much stuff of like, all right, everyone in the time chamber has certain spells cast on them, including like there's glyphs of wardings that have haste that trigger when the door to the demiplane reopens, and so everyone in there has haste the moment that they enter combat. They're all holding actions to shoot Lavos, like shenanigans like this. And Flea and I had some clones in clone jars ready, just in case we didn't succeed on the first go, and we had them like in the future so that our souls would eventually make their way to the future out of that time zone. And we were so ready, but Frey just like threw huge, like just you threw everything you had at me. You buffed up the Lavos you had previously had.
Actually, no. You fought a weakened version of.
Okay.
I think you did fight the same version of Lavos instead. You requested it, and you did absolutely destroy it.
Yes, because because you were like, I'm gonna like. It was too strong when you fought it with Frog, and I was like, no, Frey. Give it to me like it was. Like keep it the same stat block. I can do it.
And you absolutely did.
Yes.
I do. I had these. I recalled, and on Death Peak, each of the Lavos spawn had one part of this clue, and you had to assemble it into a glyph in order to summon Frog.
Yeah.
That was the other part of it. Like, you didn't realize until you started killing him, like, oh, I actually need this for the ritual.
Yes. They were, and I used Photoshop
to move them around. Yes, because I'd had transparent layers, which the eagle-eyed among you should be able to make out a very particular shape that comes into focus right around this time. So, Vos. So, Simon was very convinced that we had defeated the ultimate evil. I don't recall. I don't think I made Simon fight through literally every single boss up until that point, though I might have.
no, I nuked them.
You nuked them. That's right. You nuked them. This is our demi-plane with Atropos. I forgot entirely about the factory, but
yes. I didn't. I said we. Wait. Why is the elder and why are these two still here? Anyways, you had described the shell as indestructible, so I brought it along so that we could put it right here, so that everyone behind it, including the door to the demi-plane, would be protected. Because I was like, hey, Frey, you gave me something and you said it's indestructible. I'm using it as a shield in the final fight. That was, okay, so it was... everyone else was in the demi-plane, but Ayla and Frog and I were inside of the Cyrus. And then, there we go. Magus was there, but because I as a different token from all of the other whites that I had, because specifically I didn't want him to be left out of the thing, and I didn't want to have to desecrate too many tombs, and I wanted to know if his body was still intact by the time we finished the fight. That's why he had a different token than all of the other whites on the team. And if you're wondering how I was able to have so many spells and stuff like this, I was using all of the shenanigans of the end of time working. You had this.
Yes, I as previously touched on, if you are running this game, make time elapse in the end of time. You just gotta do it, because if you allow someone the opportunity to bounce back and forth between the end of time, in which time doesn't actually pass, so it just takes 12 seconds for them to pop in and out and get a long rest. There are so many spells that last 8 hours, with the expectation that you could never combine that into a stack, because a long rest takes that long and you only get one 8th level and 9th level spell slot. You just used so many 9th level spell slots.
I remember having a spreadsheet.
I think you had a doc. It was just a note in Lucca Trigger.
Oh yes. Okay, I'm gonna find it.
It wouldn't be handouts.
Okay, going to go all the way back up. So probably I'll find it.
No, that's all me notes. Try searching Lavos.
Yeah, sure. So I had a note that detailed my whole plan, all of it, everything that I was going to do during this fight, and it's here somewhere. I promise. Wait.
But we will have to find it another time.
No, we won't. I don't feel up to doing another one of those.
Okay,
but hold on, I think it was on my character sheet and on Flea's.
Oh, that's a good point.
I wrote the whole thing down. Like, it took me hours to prepare exactly what it was that I was gonna do during the fight. There we go. Okay.
Yep.
Drink the full keg of beer. Oh yeah, we drank beer before we went to fight. Rainbow Shell DC 20 Athletics check to protect the demi-plane. Advantage if helped +5 for every turn spent. Modifiers to remember: everybody had regenerate from Marl, double speed, advantage on dexterity saving throws +1 action because everybody had haste. Resistance to psychic from like oh, hold on. I need to be showing this. Okay. These were all of the modifiers I was trying to remember. Then everybody had +4 AC. Everybody was large creatures. Everybody had bless and a bunch of other stuff. So, okay, the Demiplate can hold 36 creatures +3 transported by the Epoch. That's 39 people. The party is... I had 2 Simulacrums. I had 1 Atropos, 26 Whites. I had Force Cage and a contingency for me and Flea to cast Polymorph on ourselves to become a T-Rex when we would drop to 0 HP. Oh yeah, the contingency spell. We had clones for Free and I. We had 3 Glyphs of Warding Fireballs attached to the black gemstone you gave me. We cast Haste on all, Bless on all, Intellect Fortress on all, Magic Weapon on all, Enlarge on all, Protection from Good and Evil. We took the Glyphs of Warding Fireballs. We give the Wonder Shots, the Faulty Laser Pistol, the Flight Gun, and the Swallow to the Whites. We sold a bunch of stuff. Marl cast all of these spells. Ayla used the Oil of Sharpness, the Crawler Mucus. It was like everything I had collected throughout the campaign. This is all of the equipment that all of my characters had. Chrono had Foresight cast on him, and I had written out everything I did in the first round. Right here it says 550 d6 cold damage. Because I had a bag full of freezing spheres. I remember that. That was great. And second round we'll see.
Anyway, so that killed Lavos. Then it was... I don't remember if I actually made you fight the fight inside of Lavos.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a map for it and everything. It was great. Like, you put so much effort into preparing that... I remember I was like, oh, it looks like a little alien. It looks like some designs in Dragon Ball of like aliens and stuff. It was great.
Okay, then Lavos right. Okay, which I guess we should do Lavos left, right, and center. So the center I had...
The Kraken.
Yeah, it's a Kraken.
The Kraken deals double damage.
I probably could have done a little bit more with this, but I was very certain that this would not take Simon very long. I do have Doors of Doom, which is... do I have this? Yes. Quite useful as far as doing some damage, but not nearly as much as it needed to. The left is... I think I just made this.
Yeah, you spend so much time and energy on this, and it was an epic fight.
Then right, yes, the final big guy. Did I make the center the... I guess I did make the center the actual hit points bag, because like obviously the right is secretly the actual Lavos core. No, that's right.
this is the first stage of the fight. Then we also have the center bit. So that was the first phase. Then you have center bit, which is a lich, modified lich, with Crying Heavens, spell, evil star. I do have actual descriptions on how each of these worked, all the way down. The left bit, which is also, I think, I modified the hell out of a summon aberration stat block. Right bit, yes, psychic slam. AC is reduced to 25 when it shuts off its defense. The one thing I needed to increase its saving throws. I would definitely have much higher saving throws if I was doing this again, though I did give it an armor class of AC 35 and allowed it on a 6 to revive all Lavos bits. And then I think Lavos bit was just my little aberrations. Yes. Okay, so that is all of my stats for the big fight, which honestly, it was a good fight. Like, I think it did end up being relatively balanced even with your 36 whites and all the prep you had done. But I think mostly because you had kind of prepped mostly for that initial fight.
Yeah.
So
And like you'd created that stat block with the intention of there's gonna be 3 people in the party.
yeah.
And I was like, and you didn't foresee the demi-plane gamble, and then you were like, okay, fine.
Yeah, but I had an entire week to prep the second phase of the fight, so we had it a lot more competitive because those whites failed some checks and were basically taken out of the running because they were just, I think, confused. Yeah. Anyway, it was definitely a really good game overall. I know we did do some like wrap up resolution post credit scenes, getting to say goodbye to everybody, lamenting the death of Magus.
Not very long.
A little bit. Just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I did a little bit. He's one of my favorite characters, even if he's an asshole.
I'd loved that, like, okay, so you told me you decide in the moment that you recruit him, whether you want to redeem him or not, and then you don't have an option of killing him later. I'd been very happy that you'd been, like, stayed true enough to the character that I was like, hey, I had this dude is evil. After we're done, he's clearly stating he's gonna go back to trying to, like, recreate a monarchy and rule over the world and all that stuff that we don't
know.
know.
I wasn't saying he was going to recreate a monarchy and rule over the world. It was just that he was going to do, like, everything he could to help Scala, because, like, she was still, like, trapped in, like, with the Mammon machine because you had failed in the Ocean Palace and, like, would continue to go to any lengths to do so. So, like, yeah, was going to be a little evil about it and could potentially do some devastating things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had to go. He had it coming.
He had it coming all along. So if you had to pick one star out of the whole campaign, what's your highest peak?
I mean, there was so much, but I think the most memorable bit was when I, like, halfway through the campaign, I was like, okay, I give up. I've been trying to make it all work together, to make it all make sense. Please tell me, how does time travel work in Chrono Trigger? And you told me...
It works in the way that is the most confusing.
It works the way that makes the least sense.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, cool, perfect. Lucca is going to agonize about this forever, but I can stop worrying about every single, like, ripple in the time-space continuum that any of my actions will do.
The curse that was in this place has been defeated.
I think for me the highlight has to be the frog sacrifice. Like it just was too good of a story beat. Like especially I've spent so much time enjoying that character, like, and just like getting to see him have that character arc. It felt so good.
Like the way you played him, he was like years later, he is the character that I remember the most, simply because there were so many times when I was like, I remember like feeling impatient as a player because he was going on, but like still enjoying it because it was like, oh, this is like cool characterization and phrase using his like your background in performance to like to really amp up the dramatic and everything.
Which, I mean, giving you a little bit of impatience while he was delivering giant speeches was a little bit the point. Like, so that was, you were feeling the correct emotion. Like, you were supposed to be like, oh my god,
yeah.
How long is this guy gonna go on? While also, like, I think I was able to thread that needle of keeping it from being boring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, keeping it at the point of annoying but interested, which is exactly what I was going for. Which I think showed how high his charisma stat was.
Yes.
Anyway, I think that wraps us up.
We will see you again when we do a recap of the campaign, of the next campaign, where I was a dungeon master and we did all of Dragon Ball up until the end of the Frieza arc.
Though we've got a lot less Dragon Ball merch, so we might have to come up with something else to wear for this.
Maybe we can dye our hair blonde and...
No.
Okay.